Anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
Yes.
I heard you.
okay. So how many people do we normally have on here?
I would say that's a Clarence Cooper question, and he's not here today because
Right. Well,
his son got an
Clarence
award.
not gonna be here. I'm gonna be here. So
Right. So my suggestion, just like we had a clinic at Phillips on Monday, we went with what we had. So we should
okay. No,
about
the reason I'm asking mostly because if maybe I give people a couple minutes or whatever
yep,
to
that's what I
get
was
in
going to
here.
suggest. But
Right. Yeah, give people a couple minutes and then, because my goal tonight is to get everybody out here as close to 8:30 as possible. Um, and there might be more questions than there are um what I have to present. So, mm, then the other aspect of this is when I do this, it won't be very easy. I'm gonna try to see if I can maybe I'll figure this out. But I might not be able to see the screen. That's what, okay, we'll start in a couple minutes. Mhm. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? Or maybe it depends on what screen.
Yes.
Throw in spot.
Can you see just the throwing spots, or can you see both parts of the screen? I'm just trying to
See,
figure out.
see both
You
parts
can
of
see
it.
both.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's not what I want to have happen. Okay, hold on.
Now see the throw. Well, we had to throw in on that last one.
Okay, well, I might have to do this, Vern, if you could look at the chat for me. I was trying to do it where I didn't have to do that, but that
Okay.
might just be what has to happen. Trying to figure out how to avoid that. Okay, well, everybody, I'm running the meeting tonight. My name is Jeffrey Rutledge. For those who don't know me, I'm a 30-year basketball official. Been a clinician with the state of Illinois since 2007. So basically, I'm going to go over kind of what they wanted me to talk about tonight was throwing spots. And I guess then I want this to be as interactive because we are a small group. I want this to be as interactive as possible. I don't want to just sit up here and dictate what we're going to talk about or the whole thing because there might be questions and I want to cater a lot of this to you. Um, uh, Pretty much, this is a basic kind of topic. It's not a real complicated topic, but before we get into talking about this in general, does anybody know the three basic ways that we put the ball in play? Or the three only ways we put the ball in play? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Come on, guys. Somebody got to know this.
Could what be from sidelines?
What's that?
Sideline?
No, what are the ways that we put the ball in play? What are the ways the ball becomes live? That might be a better way to ask that question. And this is basic. You should always know this. I'll help you with one. What's the way we start the game?
Tip off.
Okay. That's one of them. What are the other two?
Base underneath the basket.
No, what is it called that we put the ball in play?
He's not talking about locations.
No,
He's
not
talking
talking about
about
location. Talking about how do we put the ball in play? What do we call it? One of them should be obvious. It's on the screen.
Throwing.
Throw in, and what's the other way?
Technical.
Okay, well, how do we put the ball in play on the technical?
Midcourt side, opposite scorers table.
Okay, but what is it called?
Oh, it's that's a throwing spot too.
It's a throw in, isn't it?
Yeah, throwing spot. Yes, that's a
It's
throw.
a throw in. Okay, well, the other one, since we're struggling with this, and I want y'all to know this, is free throw. So we can only put the ball in play after a dead ball before a jump ball, a throw in, or a free throw. What out of those you think is the most common ones that we're going to do?
Throwing spot.
Throwing spot.
Throw-ins. Throw-in is the most common procedure that we put the ball in play. Because again, you're probably only going to do a jump ball once, maybe twice in a game, and that's rare.
Going overtime.
You're going overtime, so start the game, whatever. And sometimes you may not even have that if the right thing happened. Then you're also going to have a free throw, which is rare because if you think about how many times we actually shoot free throws, it's rare now, especially with the new rule, with the rule they put in a few years ago with the reset of the fouls. But we've always been able to put the ball in throwing. And throwing is the most common because any stoppage of play, any foul, any violation, for the most part, we put the ball in play by throwing. So the reason I asked that question because you need to know that for just your own purposes, because the ball can only be live those ways. Okay. And there's a procedure for each of them, but I'm not going to spend on time with the other ones, but I want to talk about throw-ins. So for throw-ins, basically, anytime that we have a foul or violation where we're not shooting free throws, we're going to put the ball in play on a throw-in. And as I said, even at the beginning of the game, if we have a technical foul and we're not doing a jump ball, which is possible, we would put it in by a throw-in. So we have to know the spots and we have to know the procedures in which that takes place. Basically, over the last couple years, they've changed some of the rules that used to be that made this a lot easier. Because it used to be we used to kind of go by another system to where we put the ball in play and where those spots were. Now it's pretty simple. It's the 3-point line inside or outside the 3-point line. And if it's inside the 3-point line, it goes to the inline marks, the 3-foot marks, which you may not have marked on the court, but just know it's 3 feet outside of the lane, or the 28-foot marks, which most courts at least have a 28-foot mark on the table side because that's usually marks the coaching box. But the opposite side, we do not usually have them as much, but you can look across the court and kind of figure out where that spot's at. So I want to show a video, and if everybody can see this, I want to show a video that kind of highlights this.
Resuming play with throw-ins. Rules change. One of the most significant rule changes for the 2025-2026 season pertains to throw-in spots. This change does not apply to out-of-bounds violations. Officials will no longer need to rely on an imaginary trapezoid to determine the location of throw-in spots for fouls, violations, and other stoppages. Instead, throw-in locations will now be determined by using the 3-point line as the reference. If the stoppage of play occurs on or within the 3-point line, the designated spot will be on the nearest point on the end line, 3 feet outside the lane line. If the stoppage occurs outside the 3-point line, the designated spot will be on the nearest sideline at the 28-foot mark. Please note that this rule change applies to both front court and back court throw-ins for anything other than out-of-bounds violations.
Now, the only difference with this is that, which the video doesn't say in what I cut up, is that it always goes to these 4 spots except for one time. Anybody know what that one time is?
If you're in the lead position,
Say that again.
if you're inbounding it from the lead position,
Okay, what has to take place that we would not put it at one of the 4 spots?
free throw,
Out of bounds. Out of bounds violation. Every other time we put the ball in play by one of these 4 spots, except for, and maybe I need to do it over here, except for if it goes out of bounds. Then it goes to where we took the spot out of bounds. Always in that case. But if there's a foul, violation, whatever, then we use this chart as a guide. The other thing that we don't do is we never put the ball in the middle of the lane. We never put the thrower in the middle of the lane. So if the ball goes in the middle lane, we're going to put them either on one side or the other, and preferably the side that it took place on. So if it, like, for example, here, if it goes in this little 3 spot and it goes out the lane here, we're going to bring them outside the lane, and we're going to do this every time and make this a habit. Do not, players and coaches tend to think that, oh yeah, we'll just give it where it is, and they don't make a big deal about it. Always insist them to be outside the lane and at these spots, especially on an out of bounds play. And if you have to put it out of bounds over here, like outside the 3-point line, and it's an out of bounds violation, that's where it goes. Don't be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna put it closer to the lane. That's the only caveat to that rule, and that is actually a good change. And now it applies to the front court and the back court, whereas before it applied 2 years ago when they made the rule change, it applied to the front court. Now it applies to the front court and the back court. So pretty much it's simple. We should be able to discuss this now. Before, when they had it, they used to use this little trapezoid thing, which was kind of difficult to figure out where those spots are. Now it's really simple. And what we need to do also is, as officials, is slow down and give those spots clearly, okay, that we're going to be. Even if you're not the calling, if you're the calling official, you need to tell your partners where we're putting the ball if you're not putting the ball in play. And you need to, and if you're the non-call official that's about to administer, you need to maybe, if they didn't tell you, you need to ask questions. And there's nothing wrong with asking questions. And the other thing that has to happen now, especially with Illinois High School Association games and in general, we have to know clock status. And it's really important that we know clock. We should do that anyway. But now with the shot clock coming into plays, or if you work certain other leagues or travel ball, you might have shot clocks that are participating. You want to have an idea when that clock is supposed to be set to. And it's just taking a moment, and it's not just one official that does this, it's the entire crew that does it. Because if we don't know where we started from, we can't take time off, or we can't put it back if something happens to the clock. So we got to know what our time is. And we have to have, in high school, definite knowledge of that. And definite knowledge just means, hey, I see it's 4:23 on the clock. And then if we put the ball in play and we start to play, and we get to like a couple seconds and it's still 4:23 on the clock, we got to correct that. So we have to, and this is the time when we just don't want to go through the motions. We want to make habits to make sure. So before we put the ball in play, first off, when we have a violation or foul and we're going to result in a throw in, we need to tell our partners or indicate even to everybody else where that spot is going to be. And then when we put that ball in play, we need to watch our clocks. Also, another big thing in throw-ins is a time for substitutions. So before we have a throw-in, we could have a substitution. So we want to make sure that we have all players on the court that are supposed to be on the court, not more than 5, or if we have 11 or 12 players on the court, we have a problem. So we got to figure out, so we got to slow down and don't be in a hurry to do anything. Any questions about that?
Jeff, we also have to be concerned on the throw-in with regards to.
Say that again.
I said, we also have to be concerned on the throw-ins also, don't we, with regards to whoever is guarding the throw-in person, to make sure that we don't get any delay in games or violations regarding that?
Right. And I was going to talk about that a little bit, but yes, we want to make sure that the thrower is properly placed, so we're not having them hang the ball over the court if we have room. And then we also want to make sure that we communicate with a defender that might be sitting right there to make sure that they are not reaching across to start things. Now, all we can do is tell them to throw in. Now, another caveat to this, and this is still in the rules, if we have courts, which sometimes happens, especially at the lower levels or places where we don't have a lot of room, we can ask a defender to move back 3 feet. They actually, if they're hanging over the court, or you just have that sideline that's really right next to the wall and they can't really fully be out of bounds, we can ask the defender to back up 3 feet. That's still in our rules. So, but that doesn't happen very often in high school gyms or bigger gyms or newer gyms, because usually they create enough room where there's places. But there are places all over Illinois that still have very tight inlines and sidelines, especially in the city, especially middle schools, especially some smaller schools throughout the state. They do not have a lot of room. And if you're working on multi-court gyms, you might not have a lot of room in some cases. So just be willing to move people back and move them around. But take your time. Okay. So with that, I just want to kind of talk about spots of where throw-ins are and just kind of go through some plays to make you start to think about where we should put the ball in play based off of what happened in the game. And again, this is interactive, so I'm gonna just kind of run through some plays, and I want you to kind of tell me where we're putting the ball in play.
Oh man, what a story we've had tonight. Ogun Sanya, who's going to get called for the travel.
Okay, we have a travel call. So table side is where we're looking from. So where would we put this ball in play based off of that violation?
Baseline, table side,
Baseline where?
closer to the table.
Closer to the table?
Table side, yes, from where the official is calling.
Okay.
What a story.
Well, table side is this side. That's opposite
No,
tables.
opposite table side.
Okay.
Ogun Sanya, who's going to get called for the travel. Coach Ellis does
Where
it
do
wrong.
we end up putting this?
I didn't think he traveled either. He took a dribble, turned around, and went up.
That'll be Rambler ball. And now the Rambler student.
Now, you might say to yourself, it's not that big of a deal. Why does it matter? Because coaches do know this rule.
That's the wrong side.
So if you put this somewhere different than what they are anticipating, they may have called a play or thinking they're calling a play based off of where the location of the court. And believe it or not, coaches have right-handed plays and left-handed plays. They call plays on different sides of the court. So this basically happened here. We shouldn't be putting them here. Okay? We end up putting the ball in play on the basically opposite where this happened. And if you saw the diagram, it's really split down the middle. It's either on one side or the other. Okay. Is it the biggest deal in the world? Not always. You can get away with it. In this case, I don't think the coach said 2 words, but be cognizant of if it's on one side or the other, put it on the proper side. It just makes for an easier situation. Go
Jeff,
ahead.
it looks like the coach is pointing though.
Well, he's saying something to the player. Yeah, and he might be. Actually, that's a good point.
What a story we've had tonight. Ogun Sanya, who's going to get called for the travel.
I really don't need these. So, but he's also complaining he doesn't like the call, but that's another issue. But
Hey,
my
Jeff,
point is, go ahead.
So pause it right there. Look at the official that made the call. When he starts his traveling call, he starts to go to the new trail position. He's walking away. And the trail official right now that's below on the screen, he stays there because he's assuming that the lead official is going to go across. He's staying in the slot position. Running from there, Jeff, and watch this, how this works, guys. So he called a travel. He's walking it out. The trail that's there, they blinked it out. We couldn't pause it, but now we got to rotate again. Now the trail that was staying in the C position has to take off and go, and the calling official has to come back. So we want to make sure that we go in the right spots because we want to keep the floor balanced. Now we stop it right there after he calls his travel. Then you can see where the trail official is going to stay and go to the C spot. And then also the lead that went under. Now he did correct by backing out of that play because the ball was shot. Now stop if you can pause it. I don't know. Yeah. So if we pause it right there, the trail is going to stay in the C position, and the C is made the mechanic, and now he's going to go. Thinking, and he also didn't point to let the lead know where that ball should go out of bounds at. He has to turn back and give him a spot of where the ball should be taken out of.
Very good point. So these are just little things that may not seem like big deals, but they can be big deals, especially if the coach is aware of a lot of times. This is one thing coaches know. They know where the ball is supposed to be. And especially now, it's real easy for them to put it in place. I've even had coaches the last couple of years say, isn't that supposed to be here? So they're aware of that. They may not be right all the time, but they're aware. So they may initially be called a play or saying or setting something up based off of where they are on the floor. So we have to know that. Okay. Okay, where did we have a player control foul. We're not here to debate calls. We just want to talk about where the call was made. We had a player control foul. Where did this foul take place? Somebody answer, because I'm not going to show it until you answer.
Could you replay the video?
Under the baseline, man.
Well, where did the actual foul take place?
Well, if this is the table here that's on the below us, then the foul, the player control happens opposite the free throw line, lane line.
Okay. But
So
what
as you
was
can
it?
see,
Was it inside the 3-point line or outside the 3-point line? That's what I'm trying to get when I say when the foul takes place. That's what I want you to give me an answer for.
I believe I couldn't see it that well, so I believe it was inside the paint there. So as
Okay.
that official is walking over there and going down that imaginary middle line, that's where the official was going to take it.
Yeah, it looked like it
on
was
that.
inside.
So he calls it inside the 3-point line. So where should we be putting the ball?
At the on the
Baseline.
sideline over there.
Okay, why do
Inside
we
the
put it in
Right
the
where he's
sideline?
walking to.
Why do we put it in the sideline?
No, not the
Because
sideline.
it's just okay, because I can barely see it.
It was inside the 3-point, so it'll be baseline.
So
Away
it'll be
from the table.
baseline, yeah. Well, probably mostly your player controls occur inside the 3-point line.
And that is true, but and then also does the official tell our partner where we're putting the ball to play?
No.
Doesn't appear to.
No.
Well, he kind of points, but and see, this is the other thing too. When we have a foul or violation, we have a potential for other players to come onto the court. First of all, let me always say this. Never report your foul with players coming onto the court. Don't allow players to come onto the court. And as a matter of fact, this official, for some reason, is waving players onto the court. That should never happen. The official that calls the foul has to get an opportunity to report the foul. See, watch this. He just waves him on, literally while the official is not even finished reporting. And now we got players coming on, and they're coming on really technically not legal. We're not going to do anything about this because the official caused this. But this is just another little thing that causes other confusion. Because
let me chime in, Jeff.
Go ahead, Vern.
Also, we should have a rotation there. The calling official should be coming to the table, and the officials that's bringing in subs illegally, because that is an illegal substitution right there, simply because the calling official has not got done reporting. That calling official would be bringing in those subs. That official came all the way to the table and then went all the way to the end line, to the baseline. When this official should have rotated out and let him go report, and he go to the baseline. Everybody see that?
And now we're putting the ball in the wrong spot too.
Yeah.
We're putting them at the 28-foot mark. And again, I'm going to emphasize this. This is big now because 28 feet is a big difference with a shot clock.
Correct.
So we've given that team an advantage. And think about this. What if this is the last minute of the game or the last few seconds or whatever the case, and we've called this? Now we've taken them and given them less space to get to the basket or get to the front court. So that's why this is important. You might say, well, this, no one really cares. But if this is like a couple seconds, this is a big difference. And matter of fact, when you look at the clock, it's 31 seconds. I'm sorry. There's 31 seconds on the clock. So this is
We're
a
advancing the
last,
ball for them. We're doing an
right,
advancement, and we
right,
don't even have advancement in high school.
right. So we've taken it from where it's supposed to be, and it's supposed to be opposite table. So we should be here where, I'm sorry, we should be here where this is taking place. And now we're putting them at the 28-foot mark or more feet closer with 31 seconds with the shot clock off. And this was a shot clock game. So so it may not make a difference 7 or 8 minutes in the game as much because it's not a critical possession, but this is a critical possession theoretically. I mean, especially in a close game. Now, it's not really a close game as I'm looking at it, but think about it. We need to have good habits because if we do this now when it's not a close game or when the time doesn't matter, what are we going to do when the game's on the line? And if something happens where they make a basket and it's like near the end of the game and they win, that could be the thing that they're complaining about. Not necessarily that they got the shot off. They might be complaining, wait a minute, we gave him 20-something feet to get closer to the basket. Have good habits. This is why I'm showing this. This is very important. You might say it's not that important, but it's very important. Okay. Here's another situation. Some of these are easy, but I'm just still showing it to get you to think about what is taking place. So where are we putting the ball in play on this one?
Oh man, what a
Who did the jump ball go to? That's the first question.
I am putting them in. I am.
big possession here.
Probably should have had a foul here, but we didn't. So we have a held ball. So where are we putting the ball in play?
Who does the ball go to?
Doesn't matter. Where are we putting the ball in play?
All right, it matters.
If the ball is going, if it's going in the area that they're in right now, let's just, for an example, say right there where the jump ball is at the point of interruption, that's where you put the ball in, going in that same direction.
Point of interruption?
No. That's why I said, that's why I asked that question.
Mark.
It's an alternating possession. This is not point of interruption. And I guess, and just so y'all know, guys, I'm a stickler for using proper rule book knowledge or rule book language because point of interruption means something different. This is an alternating possession. So
28
Say it
foot
again.
line. The 28-foot line right there where the
right.
jump occurred.
No. Now, let's say we had a foul here, and that's another reason why I'm showing this. Where would we put this if we called a foul right here? Where would we put the ball at?
That would be baseline.
If you call the foul, yeah, that would be if you call the foul right here where you got it frozen at, then that ball is inside the 3-point mark, then it will go down to the baseline.
Who got fouled?
Yeah, he's outside of the 3-point, so it would be 28 feet.
Okay, so I'm thinking the guy with the gold has the ball. So if White was fouled and is outside the 3-point mark, we'll put it at the 28-foot mark on the sideline.
And and then I'm glad you mentioned that if Gold or White, because it does matter if Gold or White is fouled in this case. So if you do deem Gold is fouled, Gold is inside the 3-point line. So we can put it at the 28-foot mark. I think you could justify that. If we have a foul by Gold to White, then we put it at the 28-foot mark. But the point is that either way, when we call this, we have to tell our partners where we're putting the ball in play. Because it's very possible that one of the officials or the official that did not call a foul has no idea where we're putting the ball in play. So you can't assume they know. But that is a good point. So this might, again, late in the game, this might make a big difference. It might not make a big difference. Well, but if, you put them under the basket, that's a better opportunity for me to score with certain players on the floor. So it does matter. I'm just want you to be aware of what we got to have going on. Okay. We're going to go to another one, and we're going to kind of rapid fire through these. Okay. If we're not shooting free throws, where are we putting this ball in play?
They're in line. Where we pointing?
Well, was he pointing for the inline or was he pointing for some other reason?
You're not shooting. I just answered your question.
And again, this is why I'm bringing it to your attention. So this is kind of this is closer. This could have taken place one way or the other. The point is we have to tell our partners where we're putting the ball in play. Well, we're shooting free throws, by the way. So, but just want you to start thinking of this because there's times where the foul could have started one place and ended up someplace else. So we got to tell our partners where we're putting the ball in play. Okay. Okay. We're going to start getting into some more little complicated situations. Okay. What did he call? Called a carry, by the way. Where did it take place?
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a shot at it. I'm gonna assume that the lead official is running, that's going to be the lead right there. I'm gonna assume he said he called the carry, that it's inside the arc, so we're gonna place it on the baseline right there, right exactly where he's at.
Okay. Could it be outside possibly?
That's a possibility, but from what I could see, maybe he might have called it right about there, so that would be inside the 3-point arc.
Again, there's a lot of these plays that are kind of 50-50. So I don't know that there's necessarily right or wrong. I think the violation actually takes place inside, but it's close. So because he actually does it, it's not actually called a carry or a double dribble. I think he actually called a carry. So it's close. It probably happens inside, but we got to know why we're putting it there. Because again, with the shot clock now, this could be a big difference in location based off of what time is on the clock and things like that nature. So let's go to some other ones. Did everybody see what happened? Okay, what kind of foul is this, first of all?
You read my mind.
By the way, Gold has the ball, so that's not clear. So what do we call this foul?
Was the ball inbound?
Flop.
Doesn't appear to be. It's hard to tell, but it doesn't appear to be. It seemed like he has the ball. The thrower has the ball. But what kind of foul is this?
If the thrower has the ball is live, correct?
Yes.
So that's just the offensive foul, right?
Okay. Tell me where offensive foul is in our rule book.
Or team control foul. Team control foul. I'm sorry.
Right. Okay.
I'm sorry.
And I want you to, and guys, I'm a stickler for that because I want you, when you talk to coaches and players, you're using the right terminology. Because team control means something in our rules. Offensive foul doesn't. Even though it's technically a foul by the offense, but in our rule book, that's not our terminology. Because what happens when we have a team control foul?
What don't we do?
Or what don't we do is probably the better question.
2 free throws.
There you go.
Right. So we're going to do a throw in. So where are we putting this ball? Does it matter? Or is this one of these kind of, we can put it one way or another?
No, that's a
No, it
inline throw
matters.
in from where the thrower is.
Go at the baseline. Since it looked like it may have occurred inside the paint.
Right.
Okay, so where are we putting it on the inline? Opposite table or table side?
Table side. Table side.
It looked like it looked. If this is table side that's lower, that's on the bottom of the screen, then and it looks like the foul occurred on this side, the table side, so we put it on table side.
Right.
If this is table side on the lower part of the screen.
No, table side is over here. Table side's over
on
here.
the other side.
Uh-huh.
So we
So
just put it
opposite
right
table side.
where it leads. Yeah.
Well, the reason I show this because I don't know that there's necessarily a right or wrong. It's right in the middle. So I think we could get away with either way. But that is how we have to start thinking about this. Because if we think this happens clearly on this side over here, then we have to put it opposite table. But it happens like right in the middle. So I think you could get away with either way. But know why you're doing it. That's my point. And then we actually put the ball in play at the same side that the original throwing was taking place. Now, what a lot of teams will do as well, and this is why I've emphasized this, a lot of players will come and they'll just say they'll stand on the A or the C over here. They'll stand on the A or the C. Bring them out of the lane. Never have them in that spot. They need to either be somewhere where that D is or in between the D and the E, which is about 3 feet. And again, we don't have markers on most courts, so we have to kind of guesstimate where it is. And if you don't know what 3 feet looks like, 3 feet is the lane space. That's 3 feet. Each lane space is 3 feet. So it has to be 3 feet from the lane line. So get them away from that point, regardless of where they go. Do not hand them the ball in play until they come outside. And even if you got to make a kind of a semi show of it, come to me. I'm where I'm at. I do this a lot. And you see my gesture. Come to me. I don't want you in the middle lane. Because if you put them in the middle lane and then they throw this off of the back of the backboard, we kind of cause that. Put them on one side or the other. Never put them in the middle lane, even if they go there. And most players want to go there for some reason. I don't know why. Because it's not a good spot to throw at the basket. So that's just another little thing.
And that's why we also have the hand gesture in the rule book. The hand gestures to show the spot where you would like for the player to come to and stand. And I mean, it's up to you to say hold your spot or you can run. And they should know some of those things, but that's why we had a hand gesture.
Exactly. Okay. So let's go through some plays and try to go through them quickly. Okay, we should already know because we've talked about this to infinitum. Where are we putting this ball in play? And does he tell everybody? Yes, he does. And we can debate whether that's a double dribble. That's not the point. The point is just to simply show that we need to communicate this because if you're the trail, the lead does not have an idea where you're putting that ball in play. He may not know where it took place. It could be the back court or the front court. That's another thing. So he may not know. So don't assume he knows. Okay. Give him the information. Now, you really can't see the lines, but where do you think that this might take place? ball handler is outside the 3-point line, by the way, right now. Just by the nature of the play, where are we putting this ball in play?
Inside the 3-point line.
Outside, now you're going inside. Yeah.
Okay, on the inside. So it's not where the ball's at. It's where the foul or the violation took place. So that was the key to this. So it looks like he's in the post area, just to get you thinking. Okay. Going to continue running.
Evanston's had to go to the double.
We have an offensive or team control foul call. So where are we putting this ball in play?
Let's say the ball was outside the 3-point line.
And it's close.
Yeah, right where he's going though, baseline this side.
Okay, they put it on the end line. So is that proper or?
Yeah, I believe it was
Yes.
proper.
Yes, I believe so.
That was the correct spot, but also that is the correct rotation. The calling official goes to the table to report. The official at the table comes and administers the ball in play. Just keep that in mind.
Now let me ask this question since we talked about rotations. Can anybody tell me when we would not do that? When would this official not come table side? Does anybody know when that is?
The calling official he's talking about.
Yes. And I'm asking this question because it's an Illinois thing. I want to see if everybody knows what the Illinois thing is.
If he called the foul and he didn't
the baseline official call.
Okay, so when would this official not go to the table side after the call? When would they go back to the end line?
Once they're going down court, if they're going the opposite direction, he can just come to the table, report it, and then just go right back and administer the throw-in.
Okay, I'll help you out because this one is a little more complicated. If you are considered by rule or by position the trail official, meaning we have a rebound or we have a turnover and we're going now from back court to front court, if this official makes a call, or actually any official makes a call, we do not go table side. We stay where we're at by position. It's the only caveat to this. Does everybody understand why I'm saying that? So let's say this was a rebound play. Let's not talk about what happened on the video. Let's say this is a rebound. Shot, rebound. Now White has the ball, and now White is fouled. The trail official would go and report, get to the reporting area, and they would go back.
Exactly.
They would stay on the end line, even if it was table side. They would stay on the end line, and every other official would adjust. That is the only caveat to that. But when you're the lead official or the center official or the trail official and you call a foul, you're going to eventually go table side after you report it. And then someone's going to replace you. But if it doesn't apply just to the trail, it could be the center or in a new back court to front court situation. They also stay in their basic side of the court, whether opposite or whatever. You just adjust to wherever they're putting the ball in play. Everybody kind of understand that. It's a little difference in Illinois. Okay, let me go through these really quickly. Where did this? I think this must be a little longer than I thought this was. Okay, I think we're going to watch over here, I believe. Okay, calls on legal screen. Where are we putting the ball in play? Right there. So where are we putting the ball in play? Come on, guys.
Inside the
I'm
3 point
sorry, my
arc.
environment was a little noisy.
Baseline.
That's gonna be, yep, opposite table in line.
Opposite table?
I can't see the top. I missed it. Yep,
You can't
yep,
see the
that's
table.
opposite table.
Table's on this
Opposite
side,
table,
guys. Always know where to look for
Okay,
the
so where?
players are. That should tell you where to.
I'm looking on the opposite other side. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
didn't see that. So right there. Yeah, that's table side. That's table side in line.
Now, look where he pointed. He even said where we're putting the ball in play. So why are we putting it on the table side? Because the foul happened on the other side of the lane. We had it drawn down the middle. It's happened over here. So the ball should be over here, somewhere between the A and the N. So again, he puts it on the table side instead of opposite table. Now, again, doesn't make the biggest difference, but somebody's watching, they might think, hey, we put the ball in the wrong spot. Okay.
But yeah.
I'm going to
So
show
shout
one
out,
more,
sorry
and then
about
I'm going to
that,
get
folks
into
out
some
there.
more
Fans a little
complicated
excited,
situations.
kicked out our cord.
Oh, she knew she kicked it. She just didn't plug it back in.
Okay, so where are we putting the ball in play? And this kind of will go to the rotation pot that I was talking about. So we're going to put this at the 28-foot mark. Now, depending on who called it, and I guess it doesn't even matter really who called it, how are we rotating or switching? And by the way, the center called this.
So this? Okay, the center is trailing the play here.
Trail is here.
Wait a minute.
The center is here. The center actually calls this. So what should we have done rotation-wise?
The center will become the trail because he's going to administer the throw in.
And in Illinois, you mean in Illinois, Joe?
Trail's going to come over here and administer the throw in. The center is going to go report, and then they're going to go down and stay opposite table. And the official, who is the new lead, is going to come and be the center.
Right.
And the reason being is because we're going to stay in our basic positions. Okay, that's mechanically. Now, will most people know that? No. I'm just telling you that's the proper way to do it. And it didn't make a big difference, but somebody watching that is evaluating you might do that very thing. So, run through this real quick. This is a throw-in violation to help you.
I have a question. What is it? Is it before it's a throw-in violation? Hello, I'm on, right? I can be heard?
Yes, you're on. I can hear you.
Yeah. Don't make
What's
me
the
say your
question,
name,
Brian?
Franklin.
So what's the question, Brian? I'm trying to look at the play. I'm doing the two things at once.
What is that before a throw-in violation? What is it before it's a throw-in violation? See, this is what you
Maybe the
call
question isn't clear enough then.
processing plays. What is it before it's a throwing violation? Stop right there if you can, Jeff.
Yes, I do.
Are they legal right now? Hello?
No, he's too fond of the basket.
No, no, that has nothing to do with it.
They are
legal. They are legal right now. They're legal. He tosses it to the new A1. Okay, go ahead, Jeff. What is it before it's a throw-in violation?
Travel.
Thank
Travel.
you. Thank you. Franklin Blue, I'm coming for you this year.
Now, this happens probably right in the middle too. So this is probably one of these that we could put it probably either way, theoretically. And I'm just saying no one's going to really make a big stink if you bring it to the side that you're already on. Now, if it happens way over here, or I'm sorry, over here, then we should put it on the other side. But this kind of happens in the middle. So this is not the end of the world. We're not going to lose sleep because he's right in the middle lane when this all happens. So we have to be aware of this. And I'm going to say this too. This is not a violation that we ignore. We don't ignore this. There are some officials that they like, well, they were trying to do, they have to know how to do a throwing. Now, if he maybe got in there and dropped it, then maybe, okay, he doesn't have the possibility of maybe completing it. But once he picks this ball up and takes it out of bounds, we've started this process. And then the other thing I want to admit, what other thing happens right now? What should we be doing right now?
Counting.
Because the ball is at his disposal. Now, it's at his disposal right now, but we're not going to start a count that quickly. We're going to give them an opportunity to get out of bounds. Now, if he picks it up and walks away from it, maybe a different story. Depending on what is he trying to take time off the clock. There's all kinds of little things that they try. So we should be counting. And this is the end line. So he can take that ball and actually he can hand it to him on the out of bounds side as well. So if he was like right there and waited till zero got here, or wait till zero got here out of bounds, he could do that by rule. But we're not stopping or count. It's just when he throws it into him, this is the problem. So this is all the stuff we got to process in this situation. And again, I'm saying we can't ignore this, because if we ignore this, you know, and I don't care what time of the game it happens, if they don't know how to do a throw-in, that's not our problem, because this is on film. So if you decide not to call this, and this is a close game, and something happens, and we didn't call a violation we were supposed to, we could have a problem. They might come back later and say, see, these officials, they were cheating us. They didn't know the rules. Like, we don't want to have that happen. This is a violation. And this is at Division I level. So, and at your high school game, I'm going to tell you right now, if there's film on those too, they can see if they do this. So just be aware of it. Okay, we're going to get into some more complicated things. I want to test your knowledge.
Transfer count, number 11.
Okay. Let's just say this is not a regular shooting foul. What kind of foul could we have here? If I don't call a common foul, what other kind of foul am I calling?
Intentional.
Could I call something else? What's other than intentional?
Flagrant.
Flagrant. Let me ask, does anybody think that they could call technical for this kind of play? I'll help you. No.
You can't have a technical foul during live play.
No.
It's a live ball.
He went for the ball. Live ball, yeah.
It's a live ball. It cannot be anything but a live ball foul, which means intentional or flagrant and or common or shooting. But it can't be a technical. Just want to get that out of your head. Okay. So how do we administer intentional and or flagrant?
With all players off of the free throw line and just the shooter.
Mm-hmm.
On with flagrant, which would be 2 shots with nobody on the line.
Okay. Who shoots, by the way?
That right?
Who shoots?
I think it was. I couldn't see the number. White would shoot.
Well, let's just say who shoots? The fouled player, or can somebody else shoot?
The fouled player is supposed to shoot.
Okay. Is there a situation the fouled player cannot shoot?
A technical.
Let's just say he's hurt. He can't continue. Who shoots?
The person that comes in for him.
Okay. That's why I want you to think about this, because you got to know this. So the only person that could shoot, if we call this an intentional and or flagrant, either one, has to be the fouled player, unless that player is unable to continue, meaning they're hurt or something that takes them out of the game. Blood could be a possibility because they could be bleeding and they can't get it corrected within 20 seconds, things like that. So where are we putting the ball in play? On the throw-in?
On the end line.
Why?
Because it was an intentional foul, so it goes to the point of interruption.
Point of interruption?
Point of the foul.
Or spot of the foul?
After the free throws.
Point of the foul.
Point of the foul.
You talk about after the free throws, correct?
Right. So after the free throws.
It's in line because it's the point of the foul.
The spot of the foul, not point of interruption. And I want you to, because point of interruption can mean different things. So yes, so that's key. Not the division line, not anywhere else. That is the procedure. So never have anybody go to the line that's not supposed to shoot. If he's able to continue, now they don't rule it that way. I think it should have been ruled at least an intentional foul. Let me ask this question too. What's the difference between an intentional and a flagrant foul in high school basketball? This should be easy. What happens to the foul player on an intentional or flagrant foul? Come on, guys. This has got to be quick, because if you say something that you say it's some kind of foul, we got to do something with that player, potentially.
One more time.
An intentional foul, the player that committed the foul will be reported. It will be reported like a common foul. But if it was a flagrant foul, then it's a determination of whether or not the player that committed the foul will be ejected from the game.
Okay, would there be any determination if I say it's a flagrant foul? What's the determination if I call flagrant foul?
They would get a technical foul, correct?
No.
They wouldn't.
They're ejected from the contest. This is why I want you to know the terminology. Because if I call an intentional foul, I can't eject somebody for an intentional foul. I can disqualify them if this is their 5th foul, but I don't eject them for just a foul. As a matter of fact, they can commit 5 intentional fouls under our rules, theoretically.
Correct.
So that's why I'm telling you this, because if you go to your partner and say, because what they're doing, they're talking, they're saying, what do you got? Because in high school basketball, we don't have a monitor. We are a monitor. So he's coming to them and saying, what you got? Now, they determined that this was just a common shooting foul, which is fine, but they at least talk. That's a good thing before they go and report this to the table. But if they determine and somebody says flagrant, the only thing we can do with a flagrant foul is eject that player. That's the difference. And it's still a personal foul in this particular case. It is not a technical. Flagrant is not a technical. Now, something happens. I better, I'll save that. So let me show this. And I'll make these simple because we're going to get to these shot.
Dish is
Okay, they initially call player control foul, but then there's some discussion. And I'll help for time. They determined that this was an intentional foul. So where are we putting this ball in play? After the free throws.
The inline.
Where?
Can you go backwards for it? Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to put it over here on this side of the court. So even though we're going to go to the opposite end to shoot, we're going to give it to the team, and it's the second half, so it will go under their basket. So this is kind of why I'm doing this. All right, this was going to be more of a discussion. Okay, what happened here?
We have a common foul on white, and then we have a technical foul on black.
Okay, so does anybody not have a common foul on white? Or does everybody agree it's a common foul? This happens live, guys. What are you telling your partner?
I think we upgrade that one.
The first one?
Yep, on white.
Tell me why.
I would have a discussion. I would have a discussion about it. It looks excessive.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
At minimum, I have a conversation with my partners about it.
Absolutely.
What kind of ball is that? I'm just leaving the word out. Is the ball dead now? After the referee blew the whistle and called the first foul, intentional? Now when he goes into him and kicks him, the ball is dead.
Correct.
Okay, the reason, guys, I'm showing this is because this is a live ball, dead ball situation. The first one is a personal foul at the very least. Okay, but I mean personal foul meaning we could have an intentional or flagrant.
Right. We can upgrade it.
We can upgrade this depending on the situation. But his act is only a technical foul. It can't be anything else. Now, we can call a flagrant technical, which ejects him from the contest, but it's a technical. So if we call let's just say we call an intentional foul. Walk me through the sequence of how we're going to administer this.
Did you start the play over? We'll
Start
go with the foul first.
Okay, what foul?
Call first.
Okay, so what are we doing with that foul?
We're gonna go with the foul that White occurred on the shooting, a common foul. So Black 00. If we got him with an intentional foul, he'll shoot that foul there. You see this.
How are we shooting? Tell me who's shooting and what we're shooting at.
Okay, this free throw, 00 Black will shoot the two the two free throws, and then since we have Black with an intentional, then we would take the ball down on the other end of the court, and White would shoot. I do believe it would be that player that he kicked.
So you said intentional.
It's a technical.
Okay.
Okay, so what if we make the decision that the person that got fouled is now caught a flagrant? Will be ejected.
Correct. So does he get a chance to shoot his free throws?
No, the player that substitutes in for him, I have to shoot the free throw because he's a disqualified player at this point.
Correct.
Okay, what else goes with this sequence? It's a lot that goes on with this one.
Okay, so first you're going to report the foul on White. Then you're going to report the foul on Black. And then at that point, he's going to be ejected. Then you're going to administer. Then the person that comes in for Black is going to shoot 2 free throws at that end with nobody on the line. Then you're going to walk the ball down to the other end. And then that gentleman that's laying on the floor is going to shoot his 2 free throws. And then White is going to take the ball out at the division line.
Okay. What if White doesn't want to shoot?
Let's compliment her if she's right first, Jeff.
Yeah, she's actually right. She's right on many levels. She's
and
right
one
on
other
many
thing,
levels.
And you're going to write a report.
Well, here's what I want to. This is the reason why I want to show this. First of all, we have to determine what kind of fouls we have. That's the first thing. Before anything else, the official gives a signal of intentional. But we don't have a signal for anything else. So he's determined this is upgradable just on his own, which I think is fine. But then we have to maybe kind of determine, was this just a regular shooting foul, common, or was this an intentional foul? I'm going to say, for me personally, I think Vern might agree. I think this is at the very least an intentional foul.
Correct. The first foul, correct.
The first foul. And matter of fact, I think we could consider flagrant. Depend on other factors. Does this player get hurt? He doesn't. Did we have other incidents in the game? Maybe this is the second or third incident. I might determine that this act is flagrant because he's taking a player vulnerable out of the air. So we have to determine whether right or wrong or different, what kind of foul that is. I think, and he's already signaled. So the only other question I'm going to make to my partner is, do you have a flagrant foul? Do you think this is
one thing we would have to do as a crew, we would send these type of plays, you send teams to their benches and you get together as a crew and you take your time because the third official may have something happening down on their end.
Right.
Guy coming to run, He's running down there to protect the player that just got ran into the wall, and he might knock another player down on his way down there. All those different things take sequence. So,
and he might also, or she might have some information because maybe
correct.
they saw it better than the other partner that's closer. They might have seen how bad this looked. Like sometimes you're close, you don't always think, you may not think how bad it is. But he's definitely at least going intentional. So we send everybody to the benches, and then we're going to determine what kind of foul. Then we have a technical foul that has to be called because he actually signaled that. So this player is at least, at the very least, this is a technical. Now, I'm going to say this. We can consider on that one, is that flagrant too? Because that matters, because if he's not in the game, he can't shoot his free throws. So the only person that can shoot his free throws is his substitute. That's the only one. And the coach or the captain of that team gets to determine who that person is.
So one of those are, if we went flagrants both ways, one is a flagrant live ball, the other is a flagrant dead ball. Is there any difference in the penalty?
Great question.
That's a flagrant. We deem that that's a flagrant live. We deem that 00 black just kicked him as a flagrant dead ball. Ejection.
That would be a false double foul.
It was a what?
False double foul.
No, we bypassed double fouls with this one, Franklin. Watch it again. We got
false double foul. This is exactly what a false double foul is. And so those who don't know what a false double foul is, if you don't really understand it, all it means is one play happened during live ball play. The second one happened during a dead ball sequence or before the ball was put into play for the next whatever, and they carry their own penalty.
Correct.
That's all it means. So when I hear people say, I will never call a false double foul, you've called one if you've officiated long enough.
All right, Pat.
You just didn't know it. So this is a false double foul. Now, the reason why this is all because, and I believe this happened several years ago, this actually happened in Indiana, this started a brawl. So this is not something we could just ignore. This started a brawl. I think a brawl to the point where one of the teams was not allowed to continue the rest of the season. That's how bad this was. You just didn't see it. So we also have to be careful of other players coming to the party, because if one of the white teammates saw he got kicked, now they come to the party. We may have other things that we got to deal with. But in this case, or all that we know, at least by the video, we gotta take our time with this. Now, let me ask this question, and I can be done with that part of it. What if the ball went in the basket on the shot? How many free throws are we shooting?
We just shooting one on the Blacks end.
Anybody agree?
Wait a minute. And we ruled this. So what kind of foul?
Well, if we've called an intentional or flagrant, and that ball goes in the basket, how many free throws is Black getting?
One.
Just one.
Anybody disagree with that? We're getting two, guys. All intentional and all flagrant fouls, at the very least, are 2 shots. Basket goes in or not. The only caveat to that, and I'll tell you for time, is if they're fouled on a 3-point shot and they miss the basket, it's 3 shots. Intentional fouls and flagrants are never one shot.
Jeff,
Always
you got
two.
Make the basket.
What's that?
And if they make the basket.
Right. If he makes the basket, it's always 2 or 3 on a missed 3-point shot, where the fouled player missed the 3-point shot, not an off-ball player. So never just count one, and then that never how that happens in our game.
Okay.
Other levels might do it differently. Our level does it that way. But I want to make that clear. So that is something that happens every single game.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think we're done.
now, Jeff. Real quick, Jeff. Because I know somebody's scratching their head wondering why in the world would it be 2 and not 1 if the basket went in?
Well, simple.
Just explain that.
Okay, because somebody was about to say something, and it sounded like they were about to ask, well, why would it be 2? That's all. Just for clarification, because again, most of you all answered 1, but he did explain why it was 2. So I need you to understand in that situation that he's talking about, it would be 2 or 3 if he's like he said, it was a 3-point missed shot.
3 is the only caveat to that, is if the fouled player was intentionally fouled or flagrantly fouled. That's the only caveat that on a missed 3.
And just so you know, be prepared, because one of those coaches is about to go ballistic when you give that free throw shooter 2 shots.
That's right.
Because they don't know the rules.
So Jeff, if you got a flagrant on a 3 and he makes it, does he still get 2 shots?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yes, he or she does. It's always, this is the way I say it. It is always 2 unless it's a missed 3. But you have to know that, because your Clarence is right. You will have somebody that will insist, well, he made the basket, he only gets 1. No, coach. All intentionals and all flagrants are 2 shots at least. And you can add the caveat to the missed 3 if you want to make this at the other. But here's why that's important. Because when that coach is complaining about what you just did, and then they're like, wait a minute, that makes no sense. And then you do something that they don't agree with, and then they contact the supervisor like Clarence or Vern and say, Vern, I don't understand. They gave 2 shots on that. He made the basket. Why are we giving 2 shots? Your words are going to save you.
Recommend that you guys find that in the rule book and highlight it. Because if that ever happens in a game and you make that call, you might have to show that rule to your partners or an AD, a coach, or somebody. I would highlight that rule in the rule book.
Because your partners may not agree with you on it.
And your partners may not agree with you on it. And matter of fact, I can tell you about 10 years ago, I had a clinician and or state final official try to argue that point to me in a game, who was more veteran than I was at the time. I mean, I probably had close to 20 years at the time but the point is that he tried to say it was only 1 shot. And I'm going to say this to you too. No one's going to care that he was the one that thought it was 1 shot. They're going to care if the crew didn't know that. And if the crew gets it wrong, then there's going to be a conversation with all 3 of you on some level, or 2 of you, that why did we do it this way? And again, we might think it's not a big deal, but if it's a 1 or 2 point game, that could mean the world. Coaches do know this rule. There are a lot of coaches who know this rule. Not everyone does. But you want to be able to have this conversation and reconstruct. And that's why it is so important to me for you to use rule book language, because that's what's going to get repeated to your supervisors or the state. Because also, I'm going to say this too, that doesn't mean that conversation is going to end there. They may call Clarence, they may call Vern, but they may call Beth Sauser, they may call Chris Schwartz. And this official has no business working because they don't know the rules. Trust
Or
me,
you,
I've seen it
or
happen.
you may go viral and end up at somebody's camp trying to get hired, and they're gonna ask you what happened on that play.
And if you're in a camp setting, you better get these plays right if you want to get hired. Because these do happen in camps. I've had some weird situations happen in camp, and not have one official that's watching know what we were supposed to do. And I'm saying this to the young officials because the young officials, you may think your veterans know the rule. They sometimes don't. They actually have no clue sometimes because these are not common situations. They're not common. They don't happen every day. I don't know that I've had a intentional or flagrant dead ball in years. Probably 10 years. I had a flagrant on a legal screen one time, and I gave the intentional foul signal, and my partner comes to me and said, "We are going to eject him, right?" I said, "Yeah, I just didn't know what to do. I just knew it wasn't regular. It wasn't a common foul." And we ejected that player at that point, which did not cause an argument amongst the coaches, but that's how confident you guys got to be, because you may come and save the day as the younger official. Trust me. And when you do that, your respect level with that supervisor and even your partners sometimes goes up tremendously. Because I don't want to be on a game where we screwed up a rule like that.
Now I'll say this too. Your poise and your character and how you deal with these situations is just as much as important as getting those rules right. Because if you look like you're panicking and nervous and scared, that doesn't look very believable when you're trying to tell a coach what that rule is. Or when your assigner is looking at you trying to see how you handle these, we call these atypical plays, meaning plays that don't happen very frequently or unusual type plays. So making sure you're confident in your rules knowledge is very important, because when you know the rules, you can speak it clearly and say, "Hey, coach, I know that play looks ugly, but hey, this is the rule, and this is what my crew got. This is what we're going with." You got to be confident.
And let me add one more thing, just as a training thing. Once we send everybody to the benches and we decide how we do this, there's a couple ways we can handle this too. And the reason I want to mention this, because this is often not talked about. So once we send everybody to the benches and then all three of us have a conversation, and I'm going to say this conversation has to be where we have to give whatever information is necessary. So information might mean, Clarence, I don't have a clue what happened. I was 50 feet away. That's information. That's okay to tell me that, because it very well be you may not have seen the play. So you're helping the officials that make the call to decide, do you have any information? Because if he goes with this immediately, he's at least got an intentional foul. You may not have any information that it's a technical. That it's a flagrant. You may say, I don't know. And that's okay. But we have to come to kind of talk it through, take our time, slow down. Then when we've made a decision and we decide to go to the table, this is my recommendation. This is not always talked about. Do not bring the coaches together. One official go talk to the one coach, one official go talk to the other coach, one official go to the table. Why do you think I might say it that way? Anybody?
Y'all chime in, y'all. Come on.
It's important to diffuse the situation. If you bring both of those coaches together, it's already a very heated situation. So by delegating each of the three officials to talk to each coach and then the one official to report, that diffuses the situation. I think it makes it better because we've come together as a crew, we've made our decision, and we report that decision to each of the coaches and then to the table.
Absolutely. We do not want to bring the coaches together so that they're arguing about, well, see, you did this. You guys are dirty. Man, F you. Now we got another situation. So talk to one over here, talk to one over there, have somebody go to the table. And I'm going to say this, it doesn't matter who does it. Whoever's going to be the bad guy in the situation, maybe you talk to the coach that is not going to be as upset, if that makes sense. So if you're the one who's ejecting the player and you are confident enough to go talk to that player, to that coach, go talk to that coach. If you're not, or you think it's going to cause other problems, then go talk to then either go to the table or talk to the other coach. But that's a personal decision. It might depend on your relationship with that coach. It might depend on your relationship with the game, what has happened, whatever. But don't bring them together. That we used to do that. We're starting to teach to not do that for that very reason, because we've had coaches get into it just over that. Now we got to do other stuff. So
Jeff, explain if it was a two-person crew, how did you handle it?
Well, two-person crew, probably similar, other than you go talk to him. Now, here's the thing. When we go talk to the coach, we have to use rulebook language. We have to be calm. We have to know what we're talking about. Like, we can't be one of these situations where we're not on the same page. Use the language that both of you are going to use with each coach. And then if it's two-person, somebody obviously is going to go to the table, and probably the calling official would be the main person who goes to the table. Does anybody have another strategy with that? Because that's probably how I would do it. And usually, it also this too, if you're not ejecting the other player, that conversation is going to be different. So if you're giving an intentional foul to the white player, for example, and you're not ejecting them, that conversation, whoever you have it with, is a different conversation than the one you're ejecting, because the one you're ejecting is probably going to lose their crap, especially if they don't think that it should be. And some would say, he got dragged down. Like, you might have that argument, literally. So just be aware of that.
Anybody got any questions about anything that we discussed tonight? About the throw-ins, positioning, awareness, rotation, anything? No questions at all? I'm driving, y'all, just so you know.
So I did such a good job that we don't have any questions.
Oh, they so ready to get out there and show their skill set. They don't have questions. All right, now don't let the eye in the sky get you. Talking about that videotape, and then you go viral. Then we be like, oh, guess they didn't know.
And guys, that eye in the sky is not always at high school games. They're at summer games.
Yeah.
They tape almost every summer game now.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for being on the call tonight. We're not going to hold you any longer. Alicia, did you have anything you want to chime in?
No, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, great training, guys. Make sure you take some notes, find that rule, and highlight that rule in the rule book. I promise you, you're going to see that at some point in your career. You're going to see something similar to that play. So you need to know that rule and be ready to adjudicate it when needed.
Thank you. That was an excellent example. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for being on the call tonight. When are we meeting again, Alicia?
Tuesday in person at Phillips from 6 to 8. I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
If and this is just because I'm a newer official, what Jeff said earlier, in which you're on a crew and you have a more seasoned veteran official, and you're giving that person the rule. And my question is in regards to how possibly to handle a situation in which you're confident in what that rule is, and you're coming together as a crew to make the decision, but that seasoned official refuses to listen or take what you're saying, the advice that you're giving, like, hey, this is the rule. They think that they know. And of course, usually they're the referee on the game, and they decide that they're just going to go with their way. As a crew, you're still held accountable for that decision because you're a crew. How would you handle that situation when your supervisor is made aware of what happened in the game? And the reason I ask is because we don't throw our partners under the bus. At least I'm always, we never should. How should that situation be handled if you're if you're a newer official?
Well, let me say this. If your supervisor calls you about a situation where a rule was adjudicated and whether it was done incorrectly, there is nothing wrong with telling the supervisor what happened.
Okay.
So if they didn't listen to you, first of all, the supervisor needs to know that. Like, I'm sure Clarence wants to know that Jeff Rutledge did not listen to you when you were telling him the rule. And the reason you need to tell them that, because you want to still work for that supervisor and you want to have credibility with that supervisor. So there's nothing wrong with you telling them that I told this person rule whatever for whatever. This was the rule, and they decided not to go with that. And they were the referee, and they made a decision because the referee can make a decision if the officials disagree. So you have every right to tell your supervisor that. Okay. And a good supervisor is going to want to know that.
Thank you.
Because also the other part of that is that the supervisor is going to call that person and be like, what the hell?
Exit 151A.
Like, Clarence, how would you have that conversation with that person?
Or just like you said, I would, you know, and that's the thing. Every supervisor wants their officials to know the rules and enforce the rules. Now, in situations like that, and let's be honest,
prepare to
that happens
the highway in 2.7 miles at exit 342A.
Hey, Mike, your car is talking. We can hear you.
Yeah.
Your GPS is talking. Okay. So yeah, no, we want all officials to know the rules and enforce the rules, but that is happening just about everybody's career at some point. And if it hasn't happened, it probably will happen. You know, if you're the younger official working with a veteran official, but the bottom line is this: as an assigner, our job is to make sure that you guys out there, you know, that you're knowledgeable of the rules and that you're enforcing the rules, no matter what the circumstance. So yes, just what Jeff said, you know, if you bring some information to the crew chief and you're the new official and the veteran official or the seasoned official is the referee and they don't take your advice on that, then you've done your job. You know, at that point, that's up to that veteran official, because sometimes some people do get a little cocky and, oh, well, I've been around longer than you and you don't know what you're talking about or whatever they might be thinking, and that's fine. You know, it's not, well, I shouldn't say it's fine. It's not fine, but if it's the wrong rule, then yeah, they should listen. You know, now I'll say this too. On the flip side, sometimes some veteran officials may play dumb just to see if you, as the younger official, know the rules. You know, or they may ask you a question. You know, now they probably not gonna let the crew, you know, fail on the court, but they'll probably try to see, okay, hey, you go over there and you handle that situation, and you might not even be the referee. You know, so it's really about being prepared and knowing those rules, and that's why we can't stress it enough. You got to know the rules, like having these Zoom calls, watching plays, and having these discussions about how to handle certain situations, because this stuff is not in the rule book. You know, the rules in the rule book, so you got the case book, but you know, seeing some of these types of plays, you're not going to find that in a book. You know, having these discussions, you're not going to find in a book. So yes, me personally as an assigner, I would want you as the younger official to give that information if if a situation arises where you have to give a rule or give your input on a situation to a veteran official. Give what you know, give what you saw, and explain it. Now, if that official goes against what you said and what you said is right, then as an assigner, I'm gonna have a conversation with that veteran official and say, hey, Alicia got it right. Why didn't you go with her decision? And they may have had a memory lapse in the moment and just kick the rule. It happens. Don't get me wrong, but the bottom line is when you are working as a crew, you have to be able to listen and trust your partners. You have to. And sometimes you and your partner's going to agree. Sometimes you and your partner's going to disagree. You got to figure out how we're going to get through this game if we're not on the same page. And that can be tough. That can be very tough. But it happens sometimes.
Yes, it does. And if
it
at a
happens.
higher level you work too, it's very likely a supervisor might call you and ask you about a play, and they want to hear your opinion about that play. They're not asking all of you at the same time. They're asking you
individually.
And individually, and it might not be your play. Like I had an illegal screen one time at a NAIA game that I called. I kicked the rule. Not kicked the rule. I kicked the play. He asked all three of us, and then he asked, "What is it? I want your opinion on this play." And when I saw the video, I said, "No, I kicked the play."
And I'm gonna go a step further. Let's say this particular play we're talking about with the intentional foul, and the player hits the wall, then he gets up and kicks him. Let's say if you do call a flagrant foul on that situation, or even if you don't call a flagrant foul, don't be surprised if the IHSA give you a phone call just to say, "Hey, what happened on that play?"
That is right.
Because what happens, and this is the part that a lot of officials don't know, we got a lot of people out here trying to sue for every little thing. Mm-hmm. And I mean literally every little thing. That kid got kicked in the stomach while he was on the floor. He might have fractured ribs. That parent may say, "Hey, somebody got to pay this bill. I'm not paying it, this medical bill, because my son's in the hospital with fractured ribs." Now, we might think that, okay, based on the video, that kick didn't seem so big of an issue. I mean, it was inappropriate, but we didn't think his ribs got cracked because we're not doctors. But stuff like this happens. And sometimes you might get a random call from the IHSA saying, "Hey, Alicia, what happened on that play?" Or whoever else was on the crew. Hey, Demetrius, you was on the crew. Demetrius may have been a trail all the way to the other end of the floor. They still want to know what happened. Why? Because now it becomes a legal issue. And these are the things that we don't think about. And that's why I had Alan Goldberger on the. We did a Zoom with him a few months ago, back in January, because we don't understand the ramifications. Now, I'm not saying that we're not doing our job by enforcing the rules to the best of our knowledge, but the IHSA still has to do an investigation, or CPS, or whatever school district may have to still do an investigation, because again, we didn't think that the kick may not have been that big of an issue. Or when the kid landed, when he got fouled in the air and the way he landed, maybe he landed awkward, maybe he fractured a bone, or just whatever. And that stuff may happen even after the fact. It's like having a concussion. You can have a concussion and you may not feel the results of it till a day or two later. So you got to know these things. You got to know the rules, because again, I hate to say it, but those of you all that was on that call with Alan Goldberger, the lawyer, sports attorney lawyer, on that Zoom call, he said that, hey, when you get on that witness stand, you got to know that rule book, because guess what those lawyers going to ask you? Show me in the rule book where this rule is at, and show me in the rule book where that rule is at, and this, that, and the other. So don't go out there making up stuff.
And what gets us in legal trouble, guys, with that is negligence. Not necessarily not applying the rule. It's knowing what the rule is and refusing or being negligent in applying those rules. That's what gets us in trouble. Now, you still might have to go to court over it. You still might have to deal with that. And that situation I showed ended up being a brawl. It literally was a bench clearing, fans out the stands brawl. I'm not making that up. And it was so bad that the team that I think that the kid in black, or their team, got suspended for the rest of the year, and I think even was on some kind of probation the following year. That's how bad that was. And if you think there wasn't a legal issue over that, because they weren't allowed to play in the playoffs. And Indiana is just like Illinois. Everybody plays in the playoffs. And they were a decent team. So they could have made some noise. That's how bad that got. And so you may think it's, you know, oh, I don't want to throw a kid out. I don't want to do this. Well, you might have to, because you're supported by rule, and also know what the rules say about a flagrant foul. So that's also the other thing. Use that language with the coach. Savage and violent in nature. That's part of what that rule says. Not just excessive. Now, excessive contact can be an intentional foul in itself, and it doesn't matter whether you're playing the ball. Like, I want to get that out of people's head too. Oh, he's playing the ball. No, it doesn't matter. He play the ball. He knocks him into the floor. That's more than
well, and that's why you mentioned that. That's a good point, because that's part of the reason why the NCAA and the NBA, WNBA, have put rules in play. Anything above the head can be considered a flagrant, or a F1 or F2 or whatever the case may be, possibly an ejection. Why? Because even though you can make a play on the ball, like that kid was going up for a layup, but the defensive player was probably trying to make a play on the ball, but maybe his elbow hit him in the head. This kid may have a concussion, whatever. You just never know how these things play out. So you have to kind of really use and I guess this is the biggest thing you got to understand. That play happened in all of maybe 2-3 seconds. Mm-hmm. It happens very fast. And I'm sure whenever the brawl happened, again, when that moment happened, when the brawl happened in that game that Jeff was talking about, it happened so fast. It's not like oh, it's going to take 5 minutes for it to happen and you see it coming. No, sometimes it happens in a split second, and you and your partners have to take your time, sequence the play in order, talk about it. What did you have? Which position were you in? What did you see? Even if you were to trail on that play coming up the court, you could say, hey, I didn't see much happening. All I know is he got fouled really hard from my angle, or he just got fouled. Okay, fine. That's what you put it in your report if you got to write a report. But guess what the trail should also be doing? If you see a foul like that happen and you coming up the court, you need to slow down and make sure nobody's running off those benches. Mm-hmm. That's what your responsibility is. Just because you out of you're not close to the action of that play, you still need to make sure nobody comes off those benches, especially when you see a hard foul like that. Again, this is just all game management stuff. I know and again, not saying that this stuff happens often. These types of plays happen often. They don't happen often. But when they happen, trust and believe. It might have you on ESPN, on the 10 o'clock news, all over the internet. And now you're kicking yourself like, oh man, I wish I'd have did this or did that. Take your time, process the play, have a conversation with your partners, and figure out what your decision is, and you move forward from there.
And then the other part of this too is that's why I said we can officiate the result. If one of those players got hurt and we know those players got hurt, that I can make another decision. So don't say oh, it's just automatically it's a common foul or it's a regular shooting foul. Well, what if his leg broke? What if he's got a concussion? What if and we know that something is wrong other than that foul? I can absolutely come and make a decision. Well, he got hurt. He took him out the air. We got to call something, or we got to eject him not to have other problems, or something of that nature. So just be aware of those things. That's all.
Yeah. So, but great job, everybody. We're not going to keep you any longer.
No,
thank you for those of you all that stuck around to have this discussion. We like to call this the after party. So, hopefully you guys got some good information at the after party.
And I told my wife we weren't going to have the after party.
Well, you got some explaining to do, brother.
I told her that we weren't doing the after party.
But thank you guys for being on the call. So we'll hopefully see you all Tuesday at Phillips, 6 to 8 p.m. Bring a friend, bring a neighbor. And we need more people to join up to sign up, become official. So if you know anybody interested, please spread the word. We'll be more than happy to help them get started. Ain't that right, Alicia?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Have a good evening. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you,
thank Jeff. Thanks, Jeff. Good job, man.
Thank you.
Good job. Good night.
Good night, everybody.